Hello humans, this is Retro Rocket Man back again with another video. This time round I'm going to zombify this Zurg made by Mattel from the Disney Lightyear movie. He's about 14 inches tall, so he's got a lot of good features, and a lot of nice detail, but I'm going to zombify him, if you like, and dirty him up and grunge him down, give him a new paint job, then make him look filthy and dirty and decrepit. I'm going to rip his head off and replace it with a more zombie look, if you like. It's got lots of nice detail that are just right for exploiting. Going to give it some battle damage and a bit of gooey stuff and a complete new paint job, and then I'm going to weather it down. And if you've got one, I reckon you should give it a go, because these are a lot of fun. So let's get to it, shall we? I'm going to start by trying to get his head off, and the best way I know to do that is to soften the plastic, in this case with boiling water. Be very careful not to scald yourself, and let that soak for a while. And once it's been in for at least 5 minutes, obviously drain all the water off, and the plastic should be soft enough to get it off. But in this case it wasn't. It was really difficult. But softening it did help. I eventually got it off. The outer skin was a soft rubbery plastic, so that softened quite nicely. But the internal plastic was very, very thick and hard, and it wouldn't soften enough for me to be able to get it off the ball joint. So I eventually had to prise it off with a decent screwdriver. As you can see, there's wear and tear marks on it from where I stressed the plastic, but it did come off without me breaking the ball joint, which was what I was really concerned about. I will save this for probably some other project down the track. Now I want to replace it with this. This is a cheap Halloween skull. Comes in a pack of about 5 or 6, I think, and I've had this for quite a few years. It's hollow, so it'll be easy to drill a hole in the bottom and then pop it over the peg. But because it's hollow, I'll probably have to pack it out with foam or something so it just doesn't sit like a bobblehead, so it still has posability to it when I'm done. I'm going to grunge it up, filthy him down, make him look more like a zombie, and it should look pretty good, I reckon. So if you don't like visiting the dentist, I recommend you probably skip this part, because there's a lot of harsh drilling sounds. So this is just how I'm putting holes, random holes here and there, to show sort of battle damage and wear and tear. So this is all just random, of course, and I'm just distressing the plastic and putting holes through it to make it look like blasting holes. I'm using the Dremel tool just to give it a bit more texture, rough it up a bit more, sort of grind away a bit more of the plastic, create more stressed out, battle-worn textures. This gives it a hell of a lot more interest. Going in with the glue gun now, just to give it a bit of meat, if you like, and also more texture, just to give it a gooey look, like there's flesh and blood leaking from the holes. after a quick undercoat. This is what he looks like, just to prepare him for my new paint job. And, you can see all those blast marks and holes, and the skull looks quite good on his shoulders. Actually, the head is probably a bit more proportionate to the body as opposed to the original helmet head. It was quite small. But that's all part of the stylisation, I guess. It's got lots of lovely detail, as I've mentioned before, which is going to be ready for some attention. Now I've just gone in and sprayed certain areas with some chrome silver. These will be areas that will remain with a metallic look. I haven't been too fussed about masking off because I'm going to repaint the other areas anyway with a new purple. But all those mechanical exposed areas, I want to keep those as a metallic silver look, which I can weather down with black shoe polish later to give it a tarnished, grimy feel about it. So I need to mix up a base coat for the body. So I'm just going to put a bit of blue and red acrylic and mix them to a desired colour. This is a base coat, mind you. This is the colour that I want to come through from the top coat. So it's not going to be a proper purple, it's going to be more like a maroon or a dirty purple. So I'm just painting in carefully those areas that obviously will have that finish to it. I'm not being too fussed about clean lines because this is going to be a very distressed creature in the end. I'm going to give this a couple of coats to cover up any of the undercoat and the silver areas. And now I'm switching to the skull. I'm just going to give that a base coat of white, just to clean it up again, make it look a lot more like bone. This is just another cheap white acrylic. Now I've mixed up the proper purple colour that I want, and you can see the difference there. So I'm just going to put this over the top of the brownish purple. I suppose it looks a bit like rust in a lot of ways, but this is going to give that another dimension. I'm just going to give it one coat, and it's going to come through from underneath, so it'll just give it that extra dimension, griminess and aged look. It has been through a bit. Basically my idea is just to honour of the Halloween season. I just want to make a Zurg as if in this universe he has been dispatched with by Buzz Lightyear, but through some sort of cosmic rays or some sort of weird energy exposure, he comes back to life, but he's not in very good shape. And I'm distressing the paint job even further by scratching it up, letting some of that silver come through. Time to tarnish down the silver parts because they're way too clean, naturally. Got to make them look more like the rest of his suit. And I'm just using a black liquid shoe polish. Brushing it on, and then I'm going to wipe it off with a rag. This technique really brings out all those intricately sculpted details. see the immediate difference between the clean one and the dirty one. Much better look. Time to make the skull pop, bring out all the features of the face and the head. Again, just with the shoe polish treatment. Also dirties down the starkness of the fresh white, gives it a much more aged effect. It's kind of funny how the skull sits on the ball peg. It almost looks like it floats separate from the body because it has no neck. On the purple parts, I'm going in with some brown shoe polish to weather that down. Even though I've scratched it up previously and caught all those raised edges for the wear and tear, I need to make it look more grimy, so the brown complements the purple quite well. Using red wool, I pulled out all the plies and tried to separate as much as possible. This gives the effect of veins, and I'm just gluing that to the skull just to give it a creepier look. I'm just using PVA glue, and it's quite a good effect. This is simply just a random approach, of course. I'm just doing it till I think it looks decent enough. Now with the Glad wrap, I'm just going to randomly wrap this around the skull. Not too thick, mind you, in some places thicker than others. And then I'm going to give this a heat treatment, where I'm going to melt the Glad wrap onto the surface of the skull, and this will help it obviously stick, but also it'll melt away other areas, the thinner areas, quicker than the thicker areas, and it'll make it look like random rotting flesh with the veiny bits underneath. Naturally it's too transparent, so I need to give it a bit of a grungy, rotting, smelly flesh look, and I'm just using a mustardy brown colour randomly, and then I'm going to wipe that back because it's a bit too thick, with a wet sponge just to thin it out so that those veins will pop through from underneath, and it'll give the effect of rotting old leathery flesh. Now all the blast marks, I'm just giving them a touch of red just to simulate blood and goo. Make it look very much like a flesh wound. Because even though he does look like a robot, he is more like a cyborg, so he has flesh and blood underneath. Going over the top of the skull area with some clear gloss, just to give it a bit more of a gooey look. And it really makes him look disgusting. And the same treatment on the blast marks, just to give the oozing blood and flesh a bit more of a reflective quality, so it still looks quite fresh. So the end result, fellow humans, is a zombified Zurg, where he's died and come back to life, but not in the best shape. And I think it's turned out quite well. He's got a lot of great detail and texture, and very interesting to look at. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, fellow humans, and this is Retro Rocket Man, over and out.